For those of you who read the trigger warnings and said, accidental cannibalism, count me in. This one's for you. Hello friends, and welcome to another book review on Dark Side of the Word. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Butcher and Blackbird, or Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. I feel a little weird about reviewing this book, so I would like to start with a trigger warning beginning. Friends, if you have trigger warnings and you need to know them, they are on page 2 of the book. And don't forget, there is a second page of them as well. So, do not take them lightly, though the author is quite funny in the dedication at the beginning of this video to lighten the mood. What she describes as her trigger warnings aren't very accurate and should be taken seriously. I had no idea what this book was about. Okay, come on. I'm a dark reader. I read horror books. What about this would say, don't read me? If anything, this is Alice in Wonderland's example of read me tags, because the title, the colors, the art on it, everything screams, okay, read this, okay? And it's romance, like a dark romance. But once reading this, and how deplorable the book is, I feel weird reviewing it and saying I liked it, because who am I? And I'm trying not to judge anyone else who gave it 5 stars, because I'm just like, what world do I live in? As usual, there will be a spoiler-free review at the beginning, and then I will be doing a technical review of the book in the latter half with plenty of warnings that you can, if you want to know technical as a reader, if you want to know technical as a writer, then you can proceed. First up, my synopsis of the book. Sloane is in the best position. She's stuck in a cage in the middle of nowhere, and there's a dead body decomposing next to her. Luckily, another infamous serial killer happens to stumble upon her predicament. Her name precedes her, though, Orb Weaver, a serial killer that kills serial killers. The man is ecstatic, coming up with a devilish competition, a competition Sloane has a hard time refusing. They meet up once a year to kill a serial killer, and the first one to get the kill wins. The competition brings new light into Sloane's life. She's having fun again. She's finding a purpose. And the hot guy she's hanging out with isn't so bad either. He's one of the first people to accept her for what she is, an artist. But their line of work doesn't always allow for a happy ending. As their killer ways catch up to them, there might be no future left. I personally was very quick to turn the page after reading the dedication. I did not understand the depths of gore, graphic detail, and dark murderiness that I would be walking into. I'm not the squeamish type. Fresh, I love. If anyone needs one of the best horror movies for me, Fresh on Hulu, superb. I can do this. I've seen cannibalism before. These are topics that I personally can handle. But there came a point in reading this book where I seriously had to question my sanity and almost considered closing it. Not to the detriment of the author. If we take out that portion, the book is phenomenal. The writing, the romance, the characters, the unique storyline. It's phenomenal. We just have to realize we're all crazy, and somehow we love serial killer books. One of the things that I really loved about this book, and why I was definitely drawn to keep reading it, is that there was more of a plot than just it being a romance trope. Because a lot of times in romance books, it's just, here's the protagonist's life, meet cute, somehow we meet the love interest, and the whole arc, we have love interest, it's the best thing, we lose love interest, and at the end we're back together, and suddenly somehow the protagonist has also found out a purpose in life, and now she has the love to go with it. The Butcher and the Blackbird had more depth into it, which is one of the reasons I love Ali Hazelwood's science series. I don't remember what it's called, but she does all the science-themed romance books, is that there is more plot to it. And I can't say I always read only the romance books with plot, because Love Light Farms is definitely more heavy on a romance plot than a plot, but like, there's other reasons we read that series. So yeah, you have the darkness, the murderiness, mixed with a great plot, excellent characters, so yeah, there's nothing that I wouldn't love about this book. And I think that Weaver really tried to make the serial killerness palatable for us because she made it a serial killer that killed serial killers. Though I appreciate it, and it did help me to continue reading, because as you experience the murders in the book, you go, okay, well, at least she's killing a really bad guy who is killing innocent people. But it also felt kind of like a cheat, and was her way, where it possibly felt like she might have written them as pure serial killers, and then her agent or editor came back and was like, can we just lighten this up a little bit so we don't get completely blacklisted for writing a romance serial killer book? And so she came up with the solution of serial killers who kill serial killers, and also how do they find so many serial killers. But I don't know if I can ever eat ice cream again. And when you read the book, you'll know. You know. Now, Rowan was everything that I wanted in a male protagonist love interest. He's strong, he's compassionate, he's alpha in the right way, artistic, loves his family, and Sloane matches him to the T of more of like, it's border enemies to lover, kind of like toes that edge, but this book is not an enemies to lovers situation. There definitely is immediate attraction physically on both of their parts, but there's that kind of like, well, I don't like you, and like, why are you doing this? Because we're serial killers. We're not supposed to like other people. We're not supposed to be happy. But Weaver really pulls off that combination of alpha male and alpha female, and being able to represent a relationship of two very strong alpha people. Because sometimes I just worry it's not done enough. A lot of times the women in romance books are kind of like the artist, the this, the that, and then they have a strapping, strong alpha man that makes them more of like submissive in the bedroom, and it's just, I'm an alpha woman, and my partner's an alpha man, and we're alpha people, and it works, and I appreciate seeing that in romance. I appreciate seeing the equality of these two people coming together in the book. And in no way would I ever say that this is insta-love. It is the inciting incident of them being able to meet in a very logical way, though kind of weird. Again, essentially, Sloane is caught in a cage, and she's been there for like 2 days next to this rotting corpse, and then this guy walks in, Rowan, who was, I guess, coming to kill the serial killer, and he finds her. So she's very lucky, and it's a very interesting meet-cute way, but again, it's not instant. They have instant attraction to each other, but they don't have instant love, which is very different, and I think it's something that we as writers and readers could play off of more instead of this immediate, like, insta-love. I guess my review of this book is less about all the reasons you should or shouldn't read it, and just as a public announcement of, be warned, this is an R-rated book on a visceral, gory level as well as a sexual level, and though it says that you can read these books standalone, there is a very thick woven web from this book to book 2, so I would recommend that you read this book first, for sure. And I'm hoping, because of how I have seen the synopsis for the second book, I don't know, it might not be as murdery gory. I will definitely be reporting back. If you want to follow me on Instagram in case I don't do a review of that book, I will definitely be reporting on the gore scale, how like gory the second book is compared to this one. But overall, I think that Butcher and the Blackbird definitely has a place in the romance market. I have not seen something like this. I'm not the biggest romance reader. I know there's a lot more. So maybe there has been stuff out there like this, and I'm just oblivious to it. But I also know that this book is like racing the web and is all over the place, which is probably why I saw it. But I think it's a good book. If you're definitely like one of the people that is following along with our book club and reads a lot of like thick horror and really likes that like darkness, then maybe you haven't read romance yet and you wanted to get into it, this might be a good first book for you. Be warned, most books are more romance heavy. But if you are not, and you don't like blood and guts, and you cannot get past the trigger warnings, then you might want to turn away. I enjoyed it. I can handle it, but I'm not sure a lot of people can. Alrighty, friends, look away now. We are going to be having spoilers from here on out. Okay, so from a technical side of things, I think that the Weaver and the way that she essentially leaves her victims is deplorable and disturbing. The whole web she weaves, the eyeballs. Okay, when I was talking about trigger warnings, I mean, I thought I could handle ocular trauma, but there's some legit ocular trauma in here that was pushing my boundaries a lot. But I kind of want to know who Weaver is, because Why did she come up with this? Where is her head going? How many true crime shows has she watched? I still feel guilty giving this 5 stars. I do. And are people judging me now? Like I'm judging everyone else for liking this? I mean, how the hell did anyone watch Dexter? I haven't watched it yet, but I know it was bad. Is this how, like, women doing all those true crime serial killer shows? Like, is this building on that? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I think I just want to do more of a PSA for writers out there. This is a very controversial, seems like the wrong word to use, but this seems extremely towing a line in the sand. Like, for her as an author, she's drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is what I'm writing, and it could really trigger some people, and it could make some people love her, like me, you know. I mean, she's really, as an author, niching her, making a niche. She's really putting herself in a box of, like, either this could have gone horribly wrong and not had such a great positive reviews like it has, or it could blow up like it is and we're all deplorable sinners in this world. But on top of all of that, she's kind of labeling herself as the gory writer. She wants to leave the genre of goriness because now she's built an audience of people who expect this from her. That might be a little hard, especially, I believe this is her debut book. Don't quote me on that, I could be very wrong. But it just, I want to warn writers out there, like, I don't want to be the person that's like, you can't niche yourself, you can't make the art you want to make, you don't want to do all this stuff, but I think that when you read this book, you can really understand where I'm coming from, that this is a really hard thing to pull off. I'm so happy she was so successful at it. I do love that, you know, it's getting notoriety and a lot of people are loving it, but I think you can see with the problematics of, like, the darkness in it and how, I mean, that's 2 pages, like a full page of content warnings. That's a lot. And this is the one instance where I appreciate there being, like, trigger warnings at the beginning. I'm not someone who goes for the trigger warnings and says everyone needs it. I'm not about coddling people and hand-holding them. It's like, okay, read the back of the book. If it talks about a certain theme you don't like, then don't read the book. But in this instance, I am glad that there was a set of trigger warnings because I was building up my walls to be able to handle them. And I guess it's hard for me to say, like, she's niching herself and she could make a lot of enemies in what she's doing. It's just, I think that the amount of enemies against this book is going to far outweigh, like, the positives that she might have gotten from this book. No, I want people to create the art that they want to create. It's just also, like, is this the type of book that would lead to another publishing deal once the series was over? Clearly someone loved it. Clearly she did something right. I believe that this is traditionally published and not self-published. Let's see. I'm looking. Where is Zando? I've never heard of them before. Don't take my word on it, but I've never heard of Zando before. So, I don't know. Maybe this is self-published. Zando. We're gonna look this up. Hold on. Okay, well, Vera Research is an independent publishing house. And I don't entirely understand the difference between, like, say, independent and a Simon and Schuster level, so take all I'm saying with a grain of salt. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, she's making such a niche that, it just poses a lot of questions. I'm having a philosophical debate on this camera for myself. Back to the technical side of things that has nothing to do with publishing. But yes, so, to me, this book had everything it needed to be a 5-star read for me. It had great writing, extremely well fleshed out characters, strong backstories built for everyone that is nicely laid out in the flow of the story, believable romance in if serial killers existed is the way, entertaining out the wazoo where I wanted to quickly turn the page, tropes I personally liked because that's a wide range for everyone, and there's that thing there. You know how I've been saying in my last reviews, where I'm like, something was just missing to put it over the edge, and I can't do this. Like, I can't tell you what it is. Well, this had it. It had blood. So maybe I needed blood for books to be 5 stars. But whatever that spark, that whatever a book needs, this book 100% had it, and that is why I got 5 stars. So I can't answer what I'm saying about what that is to you. but it's there. And I really hate romance series that are standalone. I appreciate Love Light Farms because though they are standalone, we get a lot of the... I really would say people have to read it from the beginning. I'm not even going to say that's a standalone example because the town just gets built deeper and deeper, and I'm reading it for the town as well as the romance. Butcher and Blackbird, though, really has a thread. Like, I know we're going to hear a romance of the different two characters in the story, but the way that this ends on such a cliffhanger, the books are connected. I don't care. This is not standalone. The books are connected. And the cliffhanger alone, besides the fact that, like, I want to read more of her work, the cliffhanger, I need to know what happens next. And that's a very interesting thing. I don't normally see that in romance books that are like solely romance. I see it in a lot of romantasy because, again, we're leaning on the romance side of all of this. But I wouldn't say that I've seen it in like a pure romance book or anything. Also, the last thing I want to like touch on here is the male protagonist leading sex scenes. I'm seeing this a lot in books, especially books that have multiple point of views, where a woman, I'm genderifying things, but where an author will pick because I read male and female romance books, that the author will pick the protagonist's male love interest to lead the sex scenes. And I'm finding that very interesting. I have to say I actually kind of love it in this book especially, but I'm just wondering about why we're having this change. Why we're going from this male-led point of view. I might find it more erotic because I'm reading one now where the female's leading it and I'm not finding it as spicy. Maybe it's the author, but maybe these authors are getting something right, that they know that it needs to be a male-led sex scene. But I'm just interested. What are your thoughts? Can you tell me below? Because do you like it? Do you not? Is this something that makes the books better? I'm forgetting the other ones I read because this is like either the second or third where the sex scenes were led from the male's point of view. And I also liked it then, so what's going on here? So, again, read the trigger warnings before buying this book, but I hope that you walked away with something. I feel that I rambled a lot, and my thoughts were uneven, so I'm sorry, but hopefully this just still enticed you a ton and you got something away from it. But anyway, thank you so much. If you like this video, subscribe and give it a thumbs up. I promise you my other videos are way more organized than this and less rambling. But make sure to come back for more reviews. I try to post weekly, and I also co-host a podcast, Dark Side of the Word, where we have also a horror-themed podcast / dark story-themed podcast. We have dark story themed book club for everyone to join along. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you have a magical reading.